Welcome back to Love Daniella. I've missed you guys so much. I feel like so much has happened in the last few weeks. Let's just do a little catch up before we get on to the episode. But today we're talking about my long distance relationship and how it truly has made me find myself. But before we get on all of the issues and my codependency issues and all of that, let's do a little life update. So my best friend moved to Austin. She's literally my neighbor. She's my childhood best friend. I could not be happier. I just feel so grateful. I have like someone that I can do things with. I feel like I have a lot of friends here and I love the friends that I've made, but you know, like the type of friend that you can just drag to anything and everything because they're like your sister. That is Riva. So I am very happy she is living in Austin now. So that was like a big change. I've traveled a bunch. Tomorrow I go to New York. I just have a bunch of things going on. It's the summer. My birthday's coming up. I'm turning 27. I kind of want to do a whole episode on 26 things I learned at 26 because I just feel like that'll be a fun episode. It's so crazy. Now I'm going into my late 20s. Like I feel like 26 still felt mid 20s to me. 27 feels late 20s. And so I'm just like, oh my God, I'm getting way closer to 30. So I definitely want to do a whole episode on that. But we have some fun things coming up. So I needed to get the ball rolling again with the podcast. I feel like sometimes I have been a little sporadic with the episodes, but I want this to feel fun and I want to only be posting when it feels like good content and I have good things to talk about. I don't want to just post to post. So I hope you guys understand that, but I will be trying to get more consistent with the weekly episodes instead of just like the once every few weeks because that's annoying. So today I want to talk about something that completely changed my perspective on relationships, which is long distance relationships. I am currently in a long distance relationship and I feel like every time I tell people that, people like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad for you. And I was kind of nervous when I first was starting a long distance relationship because of the stigma, but I think it was so important for me and like what I needed to do and reflect on. It was truly and is one of the most healing experiences I think I've felt because I have been in a lot of relationships and I am very codependent. So I think I have taken this whole journey and instead of moping on your partner not being there, I have fully immersed myself in the experience. And I know that one day I will be living with my partner in the same city and settling down. And so I don't want to take this time for granted. So I want to kind of backstory my personal long distance. So I started long distance literally 2 years ago in June. So it's been 2 years. Before that, I was living in LA. So we pretty much were together for 2 years. One of the years we were just dating. And then one of the years we were like officially boyfriend and girlfriend. So we've been together for a while now, and long distance, I'm not going to say it's like the easiest thing. You have to work to have a healthy relationship. But for me, I think it was very crucial in my journey with myself and really finding myself because long distance comes with like fear and insecurity. That's a normal thing. There's obviously going to be fear. There's going to be insecurity because you don't really know what your partner's doing all the time. And I feel like you have to really go to the core of your relationship and heal those things and build a lot of trust because if you don't trust your partner when you're doing long distance, that's why long distance doesn't work. You don't trust what they're doing or you just feel like they're way far out of your life. And you kind of have to be good at communicating, good at being loyal, trusting, all of that comes with it. But it is plausible. I feel like people always are like, long distance, you're bound to fail. But it's been 2 years and I feel like we have really gotten to a good place in our relationship because when we're together, we actually spend time together and it's very intentional. But then I also have my own life outside of my relationship, which I struggled with. Codependency, I have struggled with since I can remember. I didn't really like doing things alone, especially if I was in a relationship. I would rather my partner be there. And I was always good at keeping friendships. Like I was not the type that I got in a relationship and I forgot about my friends or I stopped hanging out with my friends one-on-one. But the things that you should be doing by yourself, like going to the grocery store or going to do things by yourself or going to a workout class, I wanted my partner to be there at all times. And I had codependency issues, especially when I lived in LA, me and my boyfriend, I had him sleep over literally every night, and I just got so used to him being there, and I would feel really uncomfortable if he went out of town because I needed him around. So I definitely had those issues, and I've always had those issues. Obviously, working things out and kind of going inward, I know that my codependency has a lot to do with my abandonment issues. I can definitely make a whole podcast episode on abandonment issues, but I had abandonment issues growing up, and that has trickled into other parts of my life. And a main thing for me is codependency. That is like a main trigger when you feel like you've been abandoned, is you need that constant reassurance and validation of your partner always being there and always being around. And I just didn't like that. I didn't like that I didn't have my own life outside of it. And so I think moving here had almost forced me into doing the internal work, because then you would just sit there uncomfortable and lonely. And I love being alone now. I love my alone time. I appreciate it. I do things by myself. Like, I'm so proud of myself because I've just never been that type of person. Obviously, during the early stages, it was uncomfortable. I felt lonely. I didn't know what to do with myself, especially moving to a city where I really didn't know anyone. So I had to do things by myself. I couldn't just call someone up and say, I don't want to go to the grocery store alone. Can you come with me? Like, I didn't have that luxury. And so I just had to force myself into doing things, whether that was going to influencer events alone or going and doing other things by myself. It was uncomfortable at first. I'm not going to lie and say it wasn't. I struggled a lot at the beginning. I cried a lot at the beginning. I felt so lost. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know why I moved away. I felt like that I didn't know what was going on with my life. It felt like my life got thrown upside down. And I also didn't like that. Like, knowing that I put so much into a relationship where I felt like when I wasn't with him, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, I do not like that. So I worked on it, and I constantly was doing things by myself, even though it felt uncomfortable. I learned how to self-soothe. Like, if you're going through something, I learned how to get myself out of it. I feel like a lot of people that deal with depression and anxiety, you go to your partner for that comfort, but obviously I didn't have that. So I had to go through the anxious feelings, the depressed moments, and just sit there with myself and really rewire my brain that, like, you're safe alone. I also feel like I got to spend a lot of time with my thoughts and reflecting. I think that when you're in a relationship, sometimes it's easy to just be clouded with what you guys have to do together, that you may not take the time to really sit there with your thoughts and feelings and how you feel in situations. So I feel like that was really helpful for me as well. And then obviously I started enjoying doing things by myself. I started enjoying going to the grocery store and doing little errand days by myself. I enjoyed just sitting on my couch by myself and working, and I enjoy my own company now, which I really could never say before. And also making friends. Making friends was scary. Obviously, when you're by yourself doing things by yourself, it's scary going on a friendship date for the first time. It was very scary, but I feel like I've made so many great friends. And I don't think I would have been pushed to do that if I had the crutch of bringing my boyfriend everywhere, because then it was like, oh, well, that feeling of connection is being filled, so I don't feel like I have to force myself to make friends. But when I moved here, I had no one, so I forced myself to put myself out there to DM different cute girls in Austin, and I found my people here. And so I'm just very grateful that even though it was scary, I did it. Okay, now we're gonna actually touch on codependency. I wrote down the definition, so if you are unaware with what codependency is. So codependency is an unhealthy emotional dynamic in relationships where one person's well-being is tied to the actions and needs of another, which was so me. It was like, if someone's day is ruined because something they're going through, especially in a relationship, my whole day was consumed by that. I had a really hard time coping with that. It's like I attached myself to their emotions, and I feel like now I'm so much better at, obviously you be there for your partner, you be there for your friendships, but you do not have to let what they're going through completely take over your life. I feel like my relationship now feels healthy. I feel a little more at ease, where I would get really upset if I had to do things by myself because I put so much pressure on that. Like, why would I do anything if I could bring my boyfriend? Like, why do it alone? And I feel like that put a lot of pressure on my relationship. Like, that's not fair to your partner, that like everything you want to do, they now have to do. and I like doing things by myself. So I feel like that really helped, and we've created like such a healthy foundation that I don't know we would have created without the distance. I also just feel so much more secure in myself. I put a lot of pressure on being in a relationship, and obviously someone with abandonment issues, you feel like you need that validation from someone to know that you are a lovable person, and I don't feel that anymore. Obviously, I love my partner and I love being in a relationship, but that's not everything to me. Like, I love who I am and I know that I'm lovable, and I love myself more than I love anyone else. And I feel like I went through such a transformative journey by being alone and being by myself in a new city. It really changed my whole perspective on relationships are supposed to add to your life. They're not supposed to be your entire life. And I put way too much self-worth in a relationship before this. I also just feel more independent. I feel like I lacked that, and independence is so good. Like, I feel like I grew into myself, like my frontal lobe developed and I grew into being a woman, where I think before I didn't feel like that. I kind of felt like I had like this adolescence, I don't know if that's the right word, but like about me, where I just felt like I always needed to be around people. And I feel like I finally like feel like an adult. Like, I have a sense of independence and I just feel secure in who I am and what I like. And it was just nice, like, kind of getting to explore myself and explore my likes and dislikes outside of my relationship. So this is a reminder: you are not your relationship. You are a whole person outside of it. You are a whole person before. If you end, you'll be a whole person after. So don't put too much self-worth into just your relationship, because there's so much more to you that's probably way more interesting than just your relationship. I also feel like people have this stigma that space creates more distance in the relationship, but for me, it's created so much more depth, because the way that we have to communicate isn't just by sitting on the couch and rotting on our phones. You have to be very intentional with what you're saying and how you're communicating and seeing each other and planning those things. I feel like it's created such a deeper relationship that now when we live together one day, we've created such a solid foundation that I love. So if you struggle with codependency like me, solitude does not mean abandonment. And I feel like that took me a while to realize. Like, just because you're not right up your partner's butt does not mean that you are abandoned in any way. Having your own life outside of your partner does not mean that you don't love each other. It's way healthier to both have your own lives outside of your relationship. This is obviously like an ongoing thing. The self-love journey does not stop, and it won't stop when my partner lives here. It won't stop just because now he will be here. So I feel like even if you're not doing long distance with your partner, really take time to reflect on what you can do if you struggle with codependency and how you can create those steps to love yourself and love your own company and love your life outside of your relationship. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to share your own personal experiences, my DMs are always open. I also have the advice column down below, so if you want it to be anonymous, you can write in that and I can read them and reply in a video. But if you want to DM me, my DMs are always open. And if you're doing the work to heal your attachment patterns, I'm proud of you. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next Thursday.